To see how this event loop works in the JavaScript framework. So as we know that because this JavaScript is a synchronous programming, so it will execute line by line, right? So but we have in JavaScript like there's a lot of like set timeout API call, like all those things, how those get handled, right? Those API call and those set timeout timer, if you put timer something, that is handled by the event loop, okay? So that is the job of event loop, okay? So we will be see here how that work. So if you see, I have written a small, like program here. If you see parent, and parent is calling that child is calling, then there is a set timeout. So how that will execute, okay? So if you see that that will be it. There is a global execution context, that is in JavaScript, okay? So whatever the program you write, right, that will run on this particular global execution context, okay, called stack queue. So that will run here, all those things. But as I told you, this is a synchronous program. So that's why Java, like that the Java engine is like created in that way. So for the old other call, like API call, we have like web APIs, okay, that is in the browser, okay? So that used to take care of all this API call and those things, okay? For it. So for example, if you see the here, right, the parent, right, the parent will call here, okay? So okay, then parent will call child, they just set timeout. So we have written, right, so it will come in this particular way, in this stack, call stack, okay? So now this thing, right, but here the set timeout, what will happen, the set time, right, this set timeout, this set timeout will be, as I told you, it will go inside that, it will go inside this thing, it will go inside this web API, okay? And it will put zero, even if it is 0 second, it will go inside that, okay? So that's why, like what happened when we print this thing code, right? So can you guess what will be the output if you are saying parent timer on child, then that is wrong. And we can see this in this, what you say that, let's see, this is code, okay? So if I print here, right, let's clear this console. So if you print note, like clear note, you see, right, first it is printing parent, then child, then timer on. Because why it is printing timer on at last, right? Because like it is there in this particular web API, and still the time, like it will execute, so it will execute parent, then we don't have set time up here, it is there in this web API, right? So that is, I'll tell you, then that's why it will not execute that, set timeout. Then child, it will execute, then after 0 seconds, because there is no 0 seconds, right? It will suddenly it will come inside this callback queue, okay? That particular call function will come inside this set timeout, right? Set timeout, it will directly jump it here, okay? But one, there is one, like what you say, this particular globe, like this event loop will keep checking, okay, this global execution context. If it is empty, then only it will run this callback queue, if any whatever, like the data from that particular callback queue. So once after this child executed, then it will go here, that then it will run this, it will, what do you say, it will go here and execute this set timeout, right? So the job of, like the event loop to keep checking, if it is empty, then only it will run those callback queue data. So that is the one case, like, okay. But suppose, like there are like some APIs, like if we write a lot of API in programming, right? So those API, how it execute, like what it does, like once they find if it is API, it will go here, and it will go then the server, like this baby API will take care of executing those through the server, like those once it execute, the server will give the data, then API will come here and it will store here, okay, in this micro task queue. So those API call, all this thing we did, that will come into inside this micro task queue, okay. And then it will be the event loop will check, okay, if anything because the event loop job is to check both this task queue, okay. So it will check both task queue callback and micro task queue. So once, like, it will find if it is anything inside this micro task queue, it will give higher priority, okay. It will give higher priority to this particular callback queue. So it will run first this micro task queue, okay. So even if we have a number of like call queue waiting inside this, it will not run execute those. It will run this particular micro task queue, and it will execute on this one and only that global execution context. So it will execute here, and that is higher priority. So that is the job of event loop. So event loop is just like it is to check micro task queue and the callback queue, and then execute their job on the. That's why we have seen, right, it executed parent child then time around, because it went time out in time, because as I told you, JavaScript is a synchronous programming, right. It executes line by line, so it will not wait for that, right. So that is the job of API. So it will go there and then it will print, okay. Even in interview you will get this type of question a lot, okay. So that will confuse you. So it is like necessary to like understand like how that JavaScript run those, those set timeout APIs and all those things through this event loop concept, I hope. So that's the job of event loops. Thanks for watching. If you like, then please subscribe. Thank you.